Love's gonna get you killed, but pride's gonna be the death of you and you and me and you and you and you and me and you and you and you and me and you and you.
The official definition of pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. In other words, pride is the reward of feeling good about yourself for what you are or what you have. On the surface level, it does not appear to be anything to be afraid of. Even in modern society, pride seems to be something that is praised. People tell you, take pride in your work or have pride in yourself. People on social media display the best versions of themselves, praising their own appearances and their luxury. Boasting is a common trend nowadays, and it seems like it is necessary to boast in order to assert dominance in the job market and outcompete the competition around. In a sense, some people feel that they deserve to, that they are entitled to brag and boast their pride. Millionaires, billionaires, people that own things. However, pride can exist in many aspects of how someone may view themselves. People take pride in their nationality or the American passport, or even their race or gender. However, as we explore what pride is and what it can lead to, we can see that these trends are not as great as they may appear. Although pride gives way for great human achievement and innovation, it is ultimately the cause of corruption in this world. Take, for example, the story of Adam and Eve. In the Bible, they were the first people to be made by God, and they were made to serve God in the Garden of Eden. However, Satan, in the form of a snake, convinced Eve that she could be like God if she ate the forbidden fruit. In pride, Adam and Eve ate the fruit God originally commanded them not to eat, and as a result, they were cast out of the Garden of Eden. The story of Adam and Eve is the story of the fall of mankind, and the cause of it was pride, them thinking that they were higher than God himself. They didn't realize their flaws and thought they deserved more despite having everything, and now they suffer the consequences. A prideful person thinks they are justified in everything they do and deserve things even when they don't. That is why pride is known as the sin that blinds and opens the gate to other negative traits like greed and anger. In other words, pride blinds us from everything but ourselves. It is important to consider that there is a difference between pride and self-esteem. Chinese-American martial artist, philosopher, and filmmaker Bruce Lee writes in his essay titled The Passionate State of Mind, pride is a sense of worth derived from something that is not part of us, while self-esteem derives from the potentialities and achievements of self. The core of pride is self-rejection. Pride in elevating ourselves is such a common practice because of how much we want to please others around us. We fail to dive into what exactly makes us us. As a result, our pride leaves us craving for more, craving for something someone else might have that we may not. That is why pride is so dangerous. When we fail to see who we are ourselves, it is difficult to humble ourselves and change. While Bruce Lee had self-confidence in that he knew what his goals and values were, people who live in pride are unsure of what they want. They simply want more. They seek that feeling of belonging, that feeling of being accepted among people who don't understand them either. This is why pride leads to other evils. Just take a look at the United States of America. Strong America, proud America. Ever since the rise of capitalism, there has been a constant push for individuality and wealth. America's military-industrial complex and Cold War were all fueled by the country's pride to assert its dominance. There's no clear goal of winning or finding a purpose. Rather, all these efforts are for the sake of pride, to feel higher than others and glorify America's own achievements and progress, and to show the world this. Finally, let us consider the English language itself and how even a language can demonstrate a culture's values. In many languages around the world, the words I and you can be modified to be more formal or honorific. In Mandarin, you can address people as ni or a more honorable yin. In German, instead of du, you can say a more polite version of sie. However, in English, there is only I or you. And not only that, but the word I itself is always capitalized. Despite these just being grammatical things in English, the emphasis of I in everything we write emphasizes how we are centered around ourselves and fail to elevate others around us in such a competitive and efficient environment. It's all about protecting my wealth, my rights, my power, my pride. From this video essay, it can be seen how dangerous pride can be. How yes, it can lead to power and wealth, but at the same time lead to overconfidence and selfishness. From the origin of mankind in Adam and Eve, pride has existed as a dangerous fuel source. And even in America's history and modern America, it can be seen how pride has been hammered into our daily lives. But in the end, there is a silver lining. It's cliche to say treat others the way you want to be treated or love your neighbor as yourself, so I'll just leave you with this. Take a sentence with that prideful I capitalized. Now, put the subject you referred to in the beginning. Although pride may be the root of evil, it is possible to overcome if we just put others first.